Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality. All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Martin Falls. We're going to learn a little bit about the legislature today. We the People, local organization that takes on many, many projects to help you learn about things in our area so important, and it ranges all kind of different things. Well, they're here. We're going to talk about Louisiana Legislature 101. So we have some guests here today. Ms. Debbie Melvin, the chair of the Legislature Committee. Mr. Welton Lewis, a board member of We the People, and Danielle Walker, who's been on here many times before, board member of We the People. So, Debbie, let's talk about this mixer that y'all going to have on, I think it's Thursday, you said?
This Thursday evening.
Break the ice for us. Why the need? I obviously know the need sitting up here, but let's tell the people.
Well, we realize that some of us have either forgotten civics or we never had civics, where we learned about how our government works. Mm-hmm. And so our goal is to educate, to teach everyone about how our legislature works, but also with that education to encourage them to take action.
Mm-hmm. And you're right, because I took civics so long ago, but the politics of it all changes quite a bit.
And we don't do politics.
Yeah, what was good politics years ago, well, Democrats have now become a different form of Democrats, probably Republicans too, but everything's changed. So it was so fluid, it got out of control. Now we have to relearn it, don't we?
Well, and just how a law is passed, you know, how they take a bill and it's introduced in a committee. And then from those committees, then it goes to the floor and then it goes to the other house to be voted on. Just those basic things. But a lot of us don't know that. A lot of us don't know who our state representative is or who our state senator is. So if there's a need to communicate a need or an idea for a law or just to express your opinion about what you think about a bill that's been proposed, we don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm. And Welton grew up in my neighborhood just for, we want to be transparent here. And I know you know the fact that I used to go to these supermarkets and ask people who our vice president or our president was. Mm-hmm. Now, I guarantee if I went to one of the large supermarkets today and asked 10 people, who's our president? 5 would not be able to tell me. Mm-hmm. To me, that's shocking.
It is shocking. And I do the same thing around here, Martin. I have conversation with people, and it's concerning our government. It's not politics. We try to avoid the politics, although I can be political, but I try to talk government. And I asked several people, day in and day out, who is your state representative? And I can promise you 8 out of the 10 have no idea. So that's what we're trying to do, is educate our community. Mm-hmm. Our mission statement is that we, instill in our community the spirit of the Constitution so they can hold their elected officials accountable. But our citizens have to be accountable first. If you don't know who your elected official is, how are you going to hold them accountable? Mm-hmm. And the whole process, Louisiana Legislature, we watch TV in the evening, we catch the evening news, and we hear all about Washington, D.C. and our federal government. But we don't hear enough about our local state government. So that's really what we're focused on, and we're trying to educate our own people.
And a lot of it is spun on Facebook and YouTube now, Danielle. They get on. It used to be the networks or the locals would run the big story. Could be an abortion bill, could be a government bill. It's spun before you even get it to put it on the 6 o'clock. It's already on Facebook and YouTube, and they're spinning it the way they want to spin it. So it's like news agencies are chasing their tail, and then you got to decipher what are they saying, if it's factual or not.
It's true, and even legislators get on these social media platforms and are able to give their perspective on why you should vote a certain way. We're seeing that right now for the amendments that are coming up for election on March 29th. But I think the reason that this event is so important to be having right now, Martin, is because the legislature is a part-time legislature in Louisiana, and they go into session on April 14th. So if people come on Thursday, they'll get a good 101 lesson, and they'll be connected to people who are regularly in contact with legislators who can help them learn how to feel more comfortable getting in touch with their legislators, and then they can also be involved going into this session. I think, with all of the things that are happening in Washington, there's been a spotlight on the fact that people's money has been wasted, and the government's not as efficient as we would want it to be. And so if people want to get involved, because our state is in a similar position, and know what's happening in Baton Rouge, where is your money being spent, how is your representative and how is your senator voting, come and get involved.
Yeah, and Debbie, as we go to the break, how do you change somebody's mindset? You all know that if you date your significant other for 6 years and you'll have a difference of opinion, you're probably at the end of 6 years gonna still have a difference of opinion. So how do you educate people they can be their own person, but to just learn a little more about maybe what they know is not always up to speed?
I say they need the facts, and we direct them to the state legislative website where they can go and read the bills for themselves. I mean, you can read a digest of the bill and you can get the gist of what it's saying, but if you want to look further, that entire bill is there, and you can read it and decide for yourself.
And it gives you a pro vote and an against vote,
Yes.
what they mean.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all written there right for you.
Well, there is an organization called Public Affairs Research Council that does that, and we can direct people to that as well. So that you know, like you said, what your vote for this bill means and what a vote against means.
Yeah, and then a lot of people lobbying either way. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back to discuss this more. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights. All right, welcome back, and we are with We the People, and they sent us a flyer. And Jay, I don't know if you have the flyer ready to go, but if we could get that flyer up, they have it. Louisiana Legislature 101, make a difference, let your voice be heard, and it will be on 3/20. That will be March 20th. That's Thursday, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Oaks venue, St. Patrick in Thibodeau. And so go out there and be a part of government. Debbie, let me turn to you, because so many legislators have so many committees, and I'll let you explain it. But that doesn't mean Mike Fazee, who might be focusing on two bills, knows everything that's happening on the other end. They got to talk too, because it can be very confusing. So everyone has to be in the know. How do you accomplish that?
Well, the first step for a bill is to go into a committee that is related to whatever that subject matter is. It may be an education bill, it may be health and welfare, it may be government affairs. So on each one of those legislative committees, and there's 16 for the House and 17 for the Senate, there's only 12 to 15 legislators that serve on each committee. So my legislator may not be on the committee that is addressing a bill that is of concern to me. So what we try to do is encourage our members to communicate with those committee members. You can find that list of committee members on the website, but we like to give them a list of all of those committee members that are, say, on education. And if there's an education bill that comes up, they have that list with their email addresses and their phone numbers. So they can quickly, shoot an email to those committee members. it doesn't matter, where you're from, where those legislators are from. On those committees, they're representing the state.
And it all indirectly affects you one way or the other.
Well, right. And all the, all the laws affect all of us. But there's particular things that may affect your family or may affect your livelihood or just a special passion or interest that you have. So this gives people an opportunity to let their wishes be known as to how they want those bills to be voted on in committee. Because in committee is where those bills will either die or they will move forward to the House floor or the Senate floor to be voted on there, and then go to the opposite house to be voted on there.
That's good stuff. Well, let me ask you, any trips, do y'all make trips to Baton Rouge?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, Martin. and I wanted to start this off with that me and you have a mutual acquaintance, and I was at his house the other day, and he asked me, he said, man, hey, what you and we the people going to do about this bill? And I thought about it, and I said, well, for one thing, I'm not going to sit on my back porch and complain about it. We need to get up, we need to get involved, get into the arena. And that is an important thing. You have to go see how this all gels together. We do plan to have a trip. I think we're going to try to go on May 13th. We're going to rent a van, 15 passenger. But we encourage as many people as possible to try to make a trip just to see how this process works. Know who your representative is, see how he interacts with the people, and then you'll know whether or not you should vote for him again or not. And like I say, it's just, it's very intriguing. I was that guy. I was outside the arena until I met We the People, and they brought me in, and they brought me to Baton Rouge, and it's like, there are things you can do. So don't sit back and say, well, there's nothing I can do about it, because you
But
can't.
y'all take on issues, and I'll turn to Danielle. I mean, y'all call me each month with issues totally not related to the other, but super important issues. And it could be social issues, it could be government issues, it could be voting issues, but y'all decide to take on, what do y'all do? Y'all form different committees and bring something in and go, all right, we need to look at this, form a committee?
Yeah, we've done things that are related to the Constitution, namely, or things that are really standing to impact our community. And, Martin, one thing I wanted to mention about this meeting in particular in the legislature is that we're expecting over 500 plus bills to be initiated this coming session. People can't make assumptions that their legislator is an expert in all 500 of those things, just like we are not even experts in the 5 things that we may have committees on. So if there's something that's interesting to you, something that you see is out of line in our state or in your community, talk to your legislator about them. And I think just, we all serve a role of being an informer and a learner. And so we can't assume that just because someone holds a position at the state capitol for us that they know everything or that they are expert. And I just want to make sure that people feel that they have the opportunity and the permission and the right to speak up and to ask questions.
Where can they go? Do they have to sign up for Thursday? How do they go? They just show up?
For the meeting Thursday night, they can just show up.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's no charge.
But
Just
if
come.
people want to register, they can do that at WTPBayou.org.
Say it again.
WTPBayou.org is where people can register if you just want to reserve a seat.
And if they want to speak or anything, do they speak at this meeting, or is this just a presentation?
It's a presentation, but they can ask questions.
Okay. So y'all pass a mic around and somebody can ask them a question?
And we're also
cool.
supposed to have a couple of legislators there, which generally we do have legislators that come to our meetings, so that if there is a question that we cannot answer because we don't know everything, we will give them an opportunity to answer questions as well.
That's fantastic. Let's bring that poster up again, Jay. There we go. Louisiana Legislature 101, make a difference, let your voice be heard. It's at the Oaks on St. Patrick in Thibodaux, and that will be Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30. I want to thank you all again for coming on. Keep us posted. I look forward every month to get something new to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back after a short break. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.